What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is James. Can't barely see. It's really, I almost said it's really dark. No fucking shit. Oh, I can't. It's about midnight. Oh no, it's almost 1 a.m. over here in Florida. And I just wanted to make this really quick video and discuss some of the liturgical differences in my spiritual practice as a Quimbadero compared to some of the other Quimbanda practices that I have seen. Now, this is not to hierarchical, rank them in any particular manner, because it's my belief and opinion that Quimbanda is very free and Eshon Pombagira work for people in ways that they guide them to, So at the end of the day, you do have two sources of information, and it should always be your elders and your spirits. So I did want to discuss some of the small nuanced differences in the way that our house does certain things compared to like other ways that, or other things that I have seen. So firstly, one of the things that recently I've heard that's pretty interesting, which we obviously do differently, is I've heard that everyone receives Eshu as their like primary spirit. In our house, we give Pombagira the opportunity to also claim that person as hers. So, i.e., making Pombagira their primary spirit. Now, I have, heard some interesting things in regards to that, but our house is definitely more of an Eshu-based house. Most people that we have marked spirits for end up coming with Eshu as their primary spirit. The exceptions to that being 3 of my godsons now are marked to Pombagira as primary. The third one just marked today. I just marked somebody's spirits today. I'm super excited. Because I feel like Eshu and Pombagira are really opening my ways, and I feel that, the message that I want to get out into the universe is really being received, and that's always such a beautiful feeling, and it's just very nice, when shit just gets popping and moving, So another thing that I have definitely seen is some Quimbaderos will read shells. I mean, every Quimbadero that we have initiated, every person receives shells, some form of divination in order to communicate with the spirits and have the spirits communicate with them. In our house, we use cowrie shells, and we use 4. I've seen some Quimbanda houses, some Quimbanda practitioners that use like up to 16. So I'm not really sure too much about the history of that. It seems like a little bit of a crossover from like Lukumi or Candomblé or like Ocha, which is pretty much the only tradition that I can think of off of the top of my head that uses 16 shells. But so that's another little difference that I've noticed. Retouch. I feel like I had a point when I started filming, and I think I might have lost it by now. Okay, so let's get into it. I think that it's really interesting when Eshu is marked as someone's primary spirit, and I think it's really interesting when Pombagira is marked as somebody. Oh, the difference, yes. So another difference that I have seen is in our house, we mark 2 spirits. We mark Eshu and we mark Pombagira for every person that comes and has the consultation done. And within that, the reading starts with a general consultation. Basically, what I'm asking is for Eshu to speak on the person's behalf and identify where they are at spiritually, where they're at mentally, where they're at emotionally, to call and awaken their destiny, and ultimately to evaluate how much light the person has in their life, And that initial casting of the shells really does like give you a lot of information, and you can really springboard off of that and really take the reading into more precise things. For instance, like if the person comes with four mouths, there that there's a lot of light that surrounds that person, so it could be that they have blessings coming their way. It could be that they're really healthy, they're really strong, they're strong-willed, they have a lot of opportunities around them. Conversely, if somebody came in four asses, you would say, there's a lot of darkness around them. And then you would just kind of go into that. So you would then use more just one-on-one communication with the spirit. In my case, I do all of my readings, my consultations with Eshu, because he is my primary, pardon me, because he is my primary spirit. That is the spirit that I use most often. Especially to do readings. It's the only spirit that I use when I'm marking someone's spirits. Lost my train of thought. Oh, yes. So the initial consultation really does, it can really illuminate, where that person is and what they may be going through. And then via the spirit, you will then talk to your spirit, and the spirit will begin communicating other things to you. Now, if things like really hit and they're like, they don't seem to be making sense, I do not dismiss anything. I don't dismiss anything. I simply just pick up my shells and ask and confirm what it is that I'm seeing, or the directionality that I need to take that advice in order to really land it with, I'm going to go inside, really land it with the person that is being consulted. So that's like, normally what I do. But it's just sometimes what the spirit will tell you or show you or reveal to you, sometimes it can really come out of left field, and it can really like be very interesting to what you may have thought the reading was going to go, or how it was going to go, etc. So getting back to my point, one of the big differences is that in our house, we only mark 2 spirits. Now, once the person is initiated, once that connection, once that rapport has been formally established, and the non-initiate has gained the favor of Eshu and Pombagira, when they're ready, we give them the freedom to learn and to grow. And part of that growing and learning process is seeding other spirits that the person may want, or that may be marked to them later down the road. For instance, I came in with my Eshu, my Pombagira, Sete Pedras, and Reina da Calunga. And I've seeded one other spirit myself since then, which is Eshu Lucio. Eshu Lucio is not a Quimbanda spirit that I read about in a book, or somebody told something to me about it. It was literally a spirit that came and like spoke to me, revealed himself to me. And then using my shells and speaking in congress with that spirit is how I marked the things that went inside of his asentamento. It's, how I gathered the things. And then it was just the normal protocol of seeding any spirit. So you would just follow those same steps that you do, for any of the other Eshus or Pombagiras. And then you just would procure for yourself and the spirit everything that their asentamento or their settlement needs. And then, once you had all of that together, you would buy offerings, a blood offering, so an animal, a rooster, a hen, candles, alcohol, cigar, etc. And then you would just go through the formal process of seeding that spirit. The settlement, the asentamento, is the seat of power for the spirit. So everything inside of the asentamentos, the spirit uses the energy, the spiritual energy, the spiritual force of those material objects in order to effectuate the desires of the practitioner. So, different spirits may ask for different things. Like if it's a more mature, a wiser, cooler Eshu, it may have like more things in that realm, to whereas like if the spirit was like really dark or really hot, you may utilize cemetery dirt, blades, knives, different parts of animals, things more so like tied to the art of witchcraft, things like that. Let me see. What other differences? The ascentamentals themselves, and I think that's what confuses a lot of people that come into Quimbanda, is the ascentamentals can really look quite different when you're comparing one to another. Like, one may look more macabre or may look, just a little darker. The energy of the ascentamental may look a little darker. But that's also like, the spirit itself. That's also the personal preference of the practitioner and how they want to keep their spirits. It's also the elders and what you are taught, and how, you keep and tend the spirits and work with them, etc. So our house is very balanced. We have no problem doing, just like Eshon Pombajira, we have no problem doing like any type of work. But what I have found, and this is true for myself, I'm not sure, if it's true for my partner, but which I would probably say yes, he would agree with it as well, is that people come to us for many, many different things: love, money, initiation. The thing I enjoy working macumba, witchcraft, doing spells, doing things with my spirits. But what I really honestly at this particular point enjoy doing the most is like helping people develop a deeper connection to these spirits, really opening the ways for people, and learning and growing myself, so it's always just a learning and growing process. And sometimes, like, I always say Kimbanda is different for every person. When I first found out about these spirits, first started researching them, learning about them, I knew every fiber, every atom in my being knew that I needed to pursue it. So it was like 4 months or something like that after I had met my partner that I had my spirits marked. And it was like 4 months after. I mean, he wasn't my partner at that particular point, but regardless, it was like 4 months. So Kimbanda came really fast, like really, really fast to me. And, Eshon Pombajira just opened up my ways for me to receive my spirits, and everything worked out, very seamlessly. Now, I know other people, it takes them, some time, maybe a few months, maybe a year, maybe a few years. I don't really have a problem with anyone's timing. What I have a problem with is if you come and you are saying that like you want to develop a kinship, a camaraderie, a closeness to these spirits, and then you fall off of the face of the earth. Especially once like the spirits have been marked, to me, that is like we've progressed beyond like a handshake. These spirits know who you are. They're then now walking with you. The person then begins calling them. They go through the introduction process with the spirits. They learn how to call them, how to make offerings, how to do these things. So it is like a natural progression, just like everything else in life, to what your end goal is. So it really, like I said, it just varies person to person, and like what the person may be seeking for themselves and what they may be asking of the spirits for. So, sometimes Eshu comes quick, sometimes Eshu goes slow. It just depends on like where you're at and what you may have going on as well. And, what you may be also what you may also have going on spiritually. So I myself, as many of you know or should know, I'm initiated into Quimbanda, Lukumi, and Palo Mayombe. So, and all three of those continue to evolve, and those spiritual practices continue to grow. So, there are points when other things like require attention, but it's like getting to the point as a practitioner where like your things don't land up on the back burner, forgotten about, you know. So before, for instance, I received my Gualdero Lucero, I went in front of my Quimbanda shrine and I let my spirits know what I was going to be doing. And I asked them, you know, to give me their blessing and to open my ways and to make everything happen very fluidly and beautifully. And that's exactly the way that it went, you know, at the end of the day. So once I received my Gualdero Lucero, I went into a period of time where you work every single day with Lucero and the Enfumbe, and you do certain things with them. And so I really wasn't doing much of anything else besides like focusing on my Gualdero Lucero and the Enfumbe inside of my Gualdero. So that is what I spent, you know, that period of time really focusing on. After that period of time ended, you know, my godson came down. We marked his spirits. We did a macumba for him for prosperity, for love. He drummed to the spirits. We played some. My partner has a drum for his. Like I can't. I'm so bad with the names of the different like instruments. I'll have to get back to you on that. But you know, so my godson is a musician. He plays the drums. He actually makes drums as well. So it was such an honor to, you know, be able to feed my spirits, refreshen my spirits, do my kumba with my godson, be there with my partner, doing everything with him as well. You know, it's just, you know, so it was like, yeah, I wasn't touching my things in the same capacity that I am now and I do normally, which is also the case anytime we have like lukumi stuff going on in the house, you know. So there are just points where like your attention is required to be somewhere else. And it's just really using, you know, your discernment and not allowing yourself to regress with anyone. That's, you know, that's kind of like the thing that I see the most that people struggle with or have issues with is like maintaining balance between their different spiritual traditions. But at the end of the day, the person also will you know, find a specialization and work that more than they work the other things. I can't say at this point because I am still very young and I'm still very young in my path, that I really haven't like come to that particular crossroads yet, and those things really haven't like been established because I'm still figuring all of them out. So so I hope that, you know, gave you all some information, maybe some things to think about, to digest, about some of the differences, the liturgical differences, the traditions differences, and how we do some of these things. At the end of the day, guys, gals, and non-binary folk, at the end of the day, like, the spirits have the final say. The spirits have the opportunity to say everything on behalf of that person that's coming. And my school of thought, my vision with Quimbanda is not encumbered by I don't want to say rules, because there are rules, you know what I'm saying? There is like a protocol that you follow. There are like steps to be done. There are like things that, you know, you're taught, ways by which you work the spirits. So it's really not an absence of rules. I would say more so it's an absence of all of my other quimbaderos. Help me out. What's the word I'm looking for here? There is a freedom that is embraced in Quimbanda, that there's a freedom embraced in Exu and Pombagira that is very different and very unique to itself. And it's definitely one of the things that drew me to Quimbanda, was all of the different ways that people work and tend and worship these spirits. You know, it's very interesting. Like some shrines I've seen have been very like flamboyant, very decorative, very beautiful, with lots of flowers and beautiful fabrics, and you know, just really, really, really just stunning, like very immaculately kept, very beautiful. There are others. Oh, also, there are asentamientos that get sealed with cement. There are asentamientos that get sealed with wax or clay. You know, some asentamientos will just have a trident, maybe a stone, some shells, and then like a handful of like power items, but it's kept in like an open vessel. You know, so there are many ways to effectuate Quimbanda. I guess that's my point of this whole video, is that, you know, you may disagree with how someone does something, or it may not make sense to you, but I just find that we need to be more concerned with what we're doing with our spirits and less concerned with how other people are conducting ourselves, you know? I mean, their selves, how other people are conducting themselves. It just doesn't make any sense to me on a personal level or as a practitioner, to be bothered by a stranger's spiritual practices. You know, like, yes, it does offend me when you run into people that are fraudulent. That offends everybody. But I don't sit there and like curse anyone's name. I don't sit there and like light candles to my spirits for this person to be fucked up. Like, you know, it just shouldn't be so hard for some of us to get disrespected, especially when the disrespect is not even towards us. You know, it sickens me and it saddens me to constantly see on social media like people that are attacking other people because of the ways that they practice when they don't know anything about them. They don't know anything about their spirits. They don't know anything about you know, who they are, where they come from, what they're doing, how they ended up at that conclusion. You know, at the end of the day, I think it's disrespectful to disagree with what somebody is doing when you were not there when that consultation was done. You don't know if it was the spirit itself that was like, no, I need this, this, and this, and you bring it. Well, if you bring this, this, and this, and then from the outside looking in, it appears to be something that doesn't make any sense. People are very quick to be like, oh, where did you get that? Who taught you that? That's not even a real thing. It's just all of this, like, this power trip ego. You know, what I'm doing is better than what you're doing. I'm the only one that has the knowledge. I'm the only one that has the power. Like, get over yourself, people. Like, for real. It's embarrassing. It really is embarrassing to see like a priest that has, you know, like multiple years of experience and they just act so moronic. So, you know, just pathetic, honestly. Just pathetic. Like, I just find it to be such a disservice to these spirits, and I find it to be such a disservice to the community that we're so much more occupied. Well, not myself, other people. I'm not bothered. I ain't bothered by anything and anyone. If you disagree with what I do, you disagree. If you don't think I'm doing something right or real, that's between you and God, honey. I know what I'm doing. My spirits come when I call them. I feel them every single day that I walk this earth. I am aware that my spirits walk with me. I am aware that my connection with them is real. And that's not something that I have to prove to anybody. I just think, I've definitely gotten off a little bit on a rant here, so I just think that, you know, the world would be a much better place, and it, you know, hi, my Asher. There would be, that's my doggy. He's a cutie. He's super cute. The world would be a much better place, and the world and all of these things would be not only easier, but more fulfilling, more worthy of, you know, people's times if we just extended a hand sometimes, you know, and just like tried to help instead of just talking shit and like looking down on what somebody else is doing. Somebody,